This is a short demo of a recent coding agent session that I did, and I thought that was interesting to demonstrate some of my workflows. It ended up creating two PRs. So this is the session. It's running in Colo terminal. It's Cloud Code, and I have used the export agent session feature here to export the whole session as a standalone HTML, which we will go through in this video, and it's right here. So this is the entire transcript of that particular session. And what I wanted to do was to basically do this particular issue, which is basically a simple. So as you can see, it's just a very trivial installation of like logging calls wherever it uses FSWatch. So it's a trivial change, right? And what it did was the agent initially created this. Let's just go through this. So it basically, I use the do command for strict agency, and then I did something else. I wasn't attending to the agent, so the agent was actually doing it on its own, trying to see what all the edits it needs to make. And I'll use the J key to go to my next prompt. So let's see. So this is all just skill invocation, automatic in the background, not actually something I sent. I need to fix that. But here's the thing, right? Once it created this PR, let's go look at this PR. I closed this PR, and we will come to that in a bit. So essentially what it did was it created this stub file, watcher event, so it's basically a wrapper around the log.info. It's very simple. And it put this inside any agent, which doesn't really belong there. And then I realized that in the recent PRs, the agent started using the packages integrations any agent, which is really a shared thing between all the AI agents, as like a dumping ground for putting all these utilities. So that's what the PR there, it created this wrapper. So there are two issues with this PR. First, it used the dumping ground package to put it, and then it actually created these wrapper functions. We don't really need wrapper functions for logging calls. So that really is like a very bad code. So how do I resolve it? I mean, I could just reject it and then give it instructions to do it properly, or I could try to do things in such a way that I can address the original problem of using the dumping ground package to put everything, and also prevent this kind of stuff in the future. So that's what I did further. And what I do at this point is I just ask the agent questions, because I don't want to tell it to do something. I just ask it. So it also builds that mental model. So we both build a shared mental model of what's happening. So I just asked this rhetorical question: what's any agent, which is the dumping ground package, got anything to do with this? So I mean, I had to go and edit that message. That's why it's appearing 3 times, but this is the final message. What's any agent got to do with these two functions, and why does the Git package depend on any agent? Because any agent is now exporting these logging wrappers. Packages unrelated to agent, like Git package, depend on it. Doesn't really make sense. How do we, and then I ask, how do we prevent this kind of change in the future? Because that's a really important thing to do in as a follow-up to any AI session, is you want to automate this as much as possible. You don't want to have to spoon feed the AI for every session. And then it realized, right, this is the key thing, that it's intelligent when you actually give it the right questions. And you were right, it actually realized all these problems. Git depends on any agent. It doesn't have to. And then it also suggested a prevention: extract small package. So if you extracted this, then it wouldn't happen. So that's good. This is a good suggestion. So a Colo shared package is actually not bad, right? And then let me see that the video is still running. Yeah. So now I ask it. I just coded. This is what it said. Oh, you should excuse my curse word. Sometimes I use it. So now it says, I just quoted one of its claims: the any agent package has been collecting cross-cutting utility. So that's the problem, that don't belong with agent-specific contracts. So this is something that was new to me, because the agent told me now logger, read tail lines with TP, all that is also being dumping ground. So I was surprised, I was shocked. These are all to do with external resource monitoring, right? We should put them in a new package. So I gave it and then it said, yeah, unifying accesses, observability. And then it gave me more package suggestions. And then I asked it. So I was wondering if this package can be independent of Colo. So to go with that, I just asked it, if you go with this Colo observe, how would you describe this to developers who are not familiar with Colo? Wanted to use it in a different package? And it said, no, you can't describe it because it's intertwined with Colo, which is fair. I just wanted to know. And then I ask it what will go in code is shared. The code is shared package will have all these functions, blah blah blah. And then I ask it to clarify further. So this is better than plan mode. I just having a back and forth with the agent, explain these functions, and then it would explain to me what that is. And then I would further ask questions. So in this case, it's explained to me, and then I notice something like these two things are related to SQLite. So why do we need like two separate files? Put them in the same folder. So okay, that's fair, and the agent actually got that as well. After extraction, only 3 agent packages will depend on any agent. So that's good. And then this is the layout. All that looks good. And then I would keep asking more questions. So how would you document log.txt? The reason why I asked this kind of question is that I just want, before it even writes the code, I want to know the API surface. And then it described it to me, which looked pretty good to me, but I was still trying to, oh yeah, it also mentioned the wrappers. The wrappers were still being in its own mental model. And then I ask, after we do this, all places that does logging will use the new shared package, right? So because sometimes we can ignore that. So and it did a full review with exceptions that made sense. And then one more questions. Anywhere a long-lived watcher is installed. So this is an interesting workflow-related questions, because now it's actually doing the log watcher install logging calls around the FS watch, but it may not be doing it for every other watch. So I asked it, does it make sense to have an abstraction for logging hook? And then it used a key analysis and then came up with, no, it shouldn't, which is fair, which is fine. And in fact, it actually recognized that even this wrapper is actually a bad idea. So I agreed with it, and then I asked it, why do we even need to use the wrapper for that 10 plus caller? And because we can just inline the logging calls. But if we inline the logging calls, how do we make sure it is respected by future AI session? And this is where actually it did a very good response, right? What it said was, it recognizes shred/agency, the do workflow, which does have a core police rule file. We can just add an entry to it, and then every PR in the future would actually check against the list of police roles, and that would catch it. So that's what I did, and I was like, cool, I agree. But in this proposal, it regressed back on creating the code shared package, and I was like forcing it to, we should still do the code shared package. And then once I'm ready to do it, I'll just make a prompt like this in less words, because it tends to be verbose, and describe what you will do. And it was like, okay, revert the PR, basically create the shared package, slim it down, everything looks good, and this role, this is the important thing. And that's it. And then I said, do it, close this PR, the PR that we opened before, and then do it in a fresh PR. And then it went ahead and made all the changes using the do workflow. I'll just skip to the end of it. There it is. So this PR is open. Let me see the PR itself. Right, so this is the PR it opened. So it created the PR with a nice description showing, it created this shared package that's now being used by other packages, and there's the code police rule as well. And it created a follow-up to do something, to do extra work. And it should have done it in the same PR, but I merged it and then asked it to, review the recently opened follow-up, and then it updated it. And I asked it to do that follow-up, which, oh, sorry, I was not sharing this. I asked you to do this follow-up, which it created. Share this tab instead. Oh, that's just the. Okay, I think I linked. Yeah, that was closed because I merged it. It created this follow-up issue automatically. One of the things do does is that it creates these follow-up issues if Hickey or Lowy notices some refactoring opportunity. So that was this. And so it went ahead and created that PR as well, which is actually good on first pass. So this is the PR. And yeah, this is essentially it just noticed an opportunity for extracting a helper from the open code and codex code. Claude Code doesn't use it because this is just a DB watcher thingy. So it recognized a pattern and then extracted it out of Cloud Codex and open code into a separate, in the new shared package that we created, that the previous PR which created the package, and now put it back into those watchers. So now the code is much more clean. And so that is the walkthrough of this entire session. This is also exported by Colo itself. We can hide the edits and all that, change themes, navigate between user messages. The HTML Colo creates here is completely standalone. You can share it with anybody with just dragging and dropping onto Slack and any other chat application. And it supports Cloud Codex and Open Code. So that's pretty much is the small walkthrough. It already took 10 minutes.